Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. In 1965, Otto Preminger introduced us to a new film that he directed and produced called Bunny Lake is Missing. This psychological mystery thriller film starred Carol Lynley, Keir Dullea, and Laurence Olivier. It's based on a 1957 novel of the same name by Miriam Modell. The storyline goes that recently arriving in London from Boston, single mother Anne Lake is under the impression that she has successfully enrolled her 4-year-old illegitimate daughter, whom she affectionately calls Bunny, into a new school. However, her conviction is challenged when she attempts to pick Bunny up after school, only to find that she is missing. No one at the school recalls ever having seen her. The only person in London who can confirm Anne's claims is her brother, Stephen Lake, a magazine journalist. Anne's anxieties intensify due to recent reports of child abductions and murders. The police become involved in the case, and as the compassionate lead investigator, Superintendent Newhouse, delves deeper into the investigation, it increasingly appears that Bunny may be a mere product of Anne's imagination, a fantasy bolstered by Stephen for her psychological comfort. Nevertheless, Stephen remains convinced that someone is aware of Bunny's disappearance, potentially one of the numerous school officials, including the elder proprietor, Ada Ford, or Anne and Stephen's seemingly peculiar landlord, Horatio Wilson. The director Preminger excels in this film, as he quite often does. The opening is beautifully organized, getting well into the action before revealing what it's all about, moving from the hustle of things being done in a hurry, such as moving men, taxi rides, the return to the school with the staircase filled with chattering mothers, into the arrival of police cars, dogs, and search parties. The director keeps his camera moving, sliding around corners, pushing through crowds, along with doors opening to dark interiors as lights are snapped on suddenly, as the film transitions from a sharp whodunit to a psychiatric shocker. The opening title sequences and the poster was done by graphic designer Saul Bass. This opening and closing of the film is exceptional, as pieces of paper are torn off, revealing the credits that are due in the film. The English rock band The Zombies are featured in the credits and on the film's poster for their contribution of 3 songs to the film's soundtrack, those being Remember You, Just Out of Reach, and Nothing's Changed. The band is also featured performing on a television in the pub where Superintendent Newhouse meets with Anne, and Just Out of Reach plays on the janitor's radio as Anne escapes from the hospital. With the director Preminger present in the studio, the band recorded a 2-minute radio ad set to the tune of Just Out of Reach that promoted the film's release, as it also urged audiences to show up on time. You see, as with the movie Psycho from 1960, audiences were not admitted after the film's start. This was not a common practice at the time, and on the poster it even warned that no one would be admitted after the clock is ticking. It was Keir Dullea's performance in this film that led Stanley Kubrick to choose him to play his most famous role of Dave Bowman in 2001: A Space Odyssey from 1968. He didn't even have to audition for the part. Kubrick simply asked him if he wanted the role, and he immediately said yes. The studio, Columbia Pictures, wanted Otto Preminger to cast Stella Stevens as Anne. You see, she was really eager to play this role, but Preminger insisted upon using Carol Lynley. Later on, Stella Stevens and Carol would go on to star with each other in The Poseidon Adventure from 1972. The U.S. production code, which was very slowly being eroded during the period when this movie was being made, stipulated that the subject of abortion shall be discouraged, and even referring to it was improper. In the movie, Ann Lake speaks quite forthrightly with Superintendent Newhouse about the fact that she had considered having an abortion, though she did ultimately choose to give birth to her daughter, Bunny. At one point, the director Preminger considered making the police superintendent a younger man and had Robert Shaw in mind for the part. Laurence Olivier eventually got this role, and it's important to know that he disliked the director intensely, as a lot of actors during that time did. Olivier's wife, Joan Plowright, used this to her advantage to keep Olivier in line by threatening to invite the director to stay with them as a house guest while filming. It's said that Olivier had warned Carol Lynley to watch out for Preminger's temper, but during filming she had no problems at all. But on the other hand, Keir Dullea suffered Preminger's wrath. Carol Lynley became popular because of this film. She was born in Manhattan, Carol Ann Jones, in February of 1942. In her teenage years, she appeared in several Clairol and Pepsodent advertisements that were used across the country. Her film career really blossomed in 1958 and then really started to decline in the late 60s. She also appeared in the March 1965 edition of Playboy magazine, a month after this movie was released, and she absolutely loved doing that nude shoot, admitting during an interview that she didn't wear a stitch, and she felt wonderful all over about it. In fact, she enjoyed that nude photo shoot so much that she didn't accept any money for it at all. Lynley died at the age of 77 of a heart attack on September 3, 2019, in her home in Pacific Palisades, California. Go back and watch this remarkably good Preminger film. I find him to be a remarkable director. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.